Hi guys, welcome to our new podcast studio, Flintshire Market Update for December. And we're going to today do a little bit of a recap for the whole of 2025, a few predictions for 2026 as well. So guys, December's always a little bit of a funny month for property sales. How have you found it on the ground?
I think, to be fair, quite naturally, things slow down this time of year. However, having said that, we have had 9 sales so far.
Yeah, we're negotiating on 3 as well. So I think before we close for Christmas, it'll definitely be quite a busy month and good for sales.
Yeah.
So on top of that, I think as well, we've taken advantage of the fact that a lot of the other agents have decided to launch their properties on Boxing Day, leaving us the opportunity to get our properties on board in December and get them sold.
Yeah, it's taking advantage of the lack of competition at the minute.
Yeah, I feel that obviously now it's December, it's even more of a point to make is that years ago when we were the only ones doing it, it was more of an advantage. Now, obviously, with a lot of agents doing it, I think us choosing not to has definitely helped us.
Yeah, it's in our favour, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think our clients also, see the fact that they want their property sold. They don't want to hang back.
Exactly.
They want it on the market now.
Yeah.
So, stats, how are we looking for the month of December, Sammy?
Well, for sales, as I said, we're on 9, potentially maybe 12, 13 by the time we close for Christmas. Okay. Exchanges, we're on 11, but
superb.
We're only on the 17th of December. So come tomorrow, the last completion day before Christmas, we should maybe finish on about 15 exchanges, which is really good in December.
That's going to please me.
Yeah. Buyer registrations definitely slowed down towards the end of the year, but we're still very much on a high. I think we're on 67, which is higher than this time last year. And then in terms of obviously new instructions, I think we're on par for last year. We're on 10 so far for this month.
Great.
Which for December.
Naturally, it always slows down, doesn't it, at the end of the day? And what about viewings? How are we looking on that score?
I was going to say, it certainly feels like we've been far busier with viewings.
So viewings for December, we're on 86.
Okay.
Which I think is quite high for December for viewings.
It certainly feels that way anyway. I don't think
Last year it was 55 or 60.
55, yeah. It was no more than 60, so we're definitely up on the viewings.
100%. So guys, if we zoom out and look at Flintshire as a whole, how are we comparing with other agents at the moment?
Yeah, so we're definitely at the top, or we will be leading towards the end of the year, fingers crossed, as momentum stays the same. So for sold, so far we're on 9, but as I said, that's going to be 12 towards the end of the year. The next best agent are sitting at 10 sold up to now. Instructions-wise, they're on 6, we're on 10.
Okay.
With a few more again in the pipeline, I believe, so far.
And this is not about sort of boasting or anything like that. It's just to give our clients a little bit of confidence that we're there, and we're performing well, at the end of the day. Now, on to the nitty-gritty. The whole year, this is where we really start to see how well Keystone have done this year. I know for a fact we've done amazingly well, and it's down to you guys on the ground. Obviously, Sophie, Beth, Laura, who aren't here today, Jill especially. I mean, it's a proper dream team, to be honest, and I feel we've had a cracking year. So let's have a look now at the stats for the whole of 2025. What we looking like with instructions right now on Rightmove Plus.
So with regards to instructions then, we currently sit on 195. The next best agent currently have 175.
Fantastic. That's in the whole of Flintshire, guys, as well. So just bear that in mind. We look at the stats in various locations, but this particular one is from Rightmove Plus. Our instruction stat internally is actually higher than this. It's just that we've got a number of properties in the pre-marketing before they actually go on to Rightmove right now. So it's going to end up being in excess of 200. What Rightmove also do is they don't obviously count the properties that may have been sort of launched and sold before Rightmove. So the number internally is actually closer to 225. So Lee, sales agreed. Are we looking for sales agreed for the year?
So we currently sit on 176. The next best agent is at 158.
Fantastic. I mean, it's an amazing stat, to be fair. Just to point out, these figures don't sell your home. We know that, but they do give you confidence that you're dealing with a really consistent professional agent.
Yeah.
Now, from a seller's point of view, the stats that really matter, we get the stats from a data source called 20EA. Our instruction to completion ratio for the last year, bang up to date in December, 85.63%. The average in the Flintshire area is just 61.23%. So a marked difference, and it shows that the clients that come on board with us generally get the outcome that they're seeking from the get-go. Instruction to sold subject to contract in days, 37 days. The average, 83 days. A massive difference. So not only are we selling more of the properties that are coming to market, we're selling them quicker as well. So why do those two numbers matter so much?
It gives sellers confidence in what we say we do, we actually do.
Yeah.
It's not just about saying it, it's doing it as well.
Backing it up with data as well.
Yeah, exactly. You know, at the end of the day, those customers come to us because they want to sell their property.
They've got confidence
that's
in us.
exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Now, from a market point of view, what do you expect to happen into 2026? What's your feelings on how the market's going to go?
Well, for me, obviously, we did have the delay with regards to the budget.
Yeah.
That's now come and gone. And I think people have gained confidence knowing that there's no real hidden surprises that were revealed on that day. So I think people now going into January are going to get listed, and I think we're in for a real busy start to the year.
Pent up demand, I think.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I do. I think people that were holding off because of Christmas, naturally people don't want to put their houses on the market. 9 times out of 10, they'll then wait till spring. But I think at the start of the year, they're just going to go for it. And I think we're definitely going to see an influx of properties come to the market at the start of the year.
Yeah. And what that'll do is give us momentum going into the year. It's key in a estate agency is making sure we keep the momentum. What we're doing right now is lining up video editors, photo editors. Everything is geared up so we can turn properties around quick in January.
Yeah.
Because November and December have been a little bit slow with regards to instructions, generally because of the market. And like Lee said, with the budget, you had a delay, and then it was into December. You know, we feel a lot of people are going to be listing in January, and what we want to do is take advantage of that and make sure we can list 2-3 properties a day and get them on the market quicker, so that we can obviously get some momentum going into the new year. So what about buyer registrations? How's that looking at the moment? Because that's a good key indicator of what it's going to look like in the next month or two.
Well, so far for December, we've already seen that there's more buyer registrations compared to this time last year.
Yeah.
And as the whole year has gone on, we've had more buyer registrations this year opposed to last year.
It's ramped up towards the end of the year as well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Which
Dramatically.
tells me that there's the demands there, but there's not the stock there on the market. Yeah. But I think that's going to change. Obviously, a lot of agents we know, launch a lot of properties on Boxing Day, so there's going to be a bigger choice. We've already, I mean, I know you guys on the sales team are speaking to, there must be 15 to 20 properties lined up ready for January. So you're going to see a lot of properties come on the market, but I think the demand's there, which again, it's going to lead to like massive momentum in the market. And I think the early part of 2026 is going to be phenomenal going into the spring. And then you naturally get a good market in the summer, and hopefully that'll hold out to the back end of the year as well. And I predict that house prices, without a doubt, are going to go up next year. There's going to be demand. There's going to be the buyers there. I'm not saying that they're going to go up by a silly amount, but I would imagine that you're going to be looking at a 2, 3, 4% rise, as we've seen this year just gone. There's been I think a 3% rise in the Flintshire area. The average house price now is 212,000. That's up around 3% year on year. So the market is definitely going in the right direction. Interest rates seem to have stabilised as well. You're even looking at some lenders bringing their rates down a little bit recently. So this all leads to quite a stable market going into 2026, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. As you say, the banks are now putting out some really good deals. So it's really giving people the confidence to get their property on the market and to move forward.
Yeah, so with there being more buyers, there's going to be more demand for properties. So hopefully the more properties that come to market, it just means that there's going to be more competition at the start of the year, which obviously leads nicely on to the sale ready service.
Yeah.
And guide pricing and making sure that properties are priced right from the get-go.
Exactly. That's absolutely key. In a market where there's a lot of competition, it's absolutely imperative that when the house goes on the market, it's presented well, which we do fantastically with our first look videos and all the social media stuff we do. But on top of that, it's key to get the price right. And as we've discussed quite a few times on these market updates, we now use the guide pricing, which the guide price normally sits at the lower end of what the seller's prepared to look at. And then we have a range, and obviously early on in the marketing, it's buyers should expect to be paying the top end of that range. What's changing internally with Keystone going into next year?
One of the key differences that customers now are going to have their own dedicated consultant who will look after them throughout. So the valuers will go out, they will basically talk to the customer, potentially win the business, but then they'll look after that particular client right the way through, which means they won't be handing over to anybody else. They'll be working with them throughout the process, keeping them informed, keeping them updated, and also negotiating on their behalf as well. They've been out there, they valued that property, so they know what that property's all about, and they're the face of Keystone throughout.
It's just having trust, isn't it, in your valuer and in the agent that you choose, that our clients are going to have trust in us and they can trust us with absolutely everything.
Yeah, I think that the fact that the person going out who's initially valued the property is accountable for that property all the way through to when the property goes under offer. And then we've got a specialist sales progression team. It's handed over to that sales progression team and they take it through to completion. But having that point of contact with the WhatsApp number, so you'll have their mobile number, you can contact that member of the sales team, either Lee, Sammy or Laura, anytime during normal working hours. And they're there on WhatsApp as well. And any price adjustments needed, well, it's down to you guys to A, get it right in the first place with the client, but B, secondly, if a price adjustment is needed, then it's at least you guys talking to the client who has put their trust in you from the get-go to sell their property. I think it's really going to work tremendously well, that little bit of restructuring within the business. So guys, obviously our sale ready service has been tremendously successful and helped us get transaction times down really well over the last 12 months. As we said earlier, the whole time from going on the market to completion is far lower than any other agent in the area at the moment. But how are we evolving things from the sale ready service perspective? We're
ensuring that our vendors conquer any issues before they arise with the pre-market surveys. That is going to be an absolute game changer in 2026.
I feel it will be as well. And don't get me wrong, there's a cost to that for our vendors. We've managed to put something in place with a local surveyor to do a pre-market survey at a lower cost than what it would normally be. But it's absolutely key because you've dealt a lot with sales progression in the past, Sammy. Just tell the audience about the problems you have with surveys.
The problem is with the surveys, if the buyer doesn't get it done at the very start of the transaction, they 9 times out of 10 will do it towards the end. And if we're saying that a completion goes through within 6 to 8 weeks and you're doing a survey at the 7th week and issues arise from that survey, it just puts everything on hold. So getting that survey done before it goes to the market, you can, one, get those issues fixed if there is any, touch wood there isn't, but if there is issues, you get those issues fixed before the property goes to the market. Or number 2, if there's big issues there that's not something that you want to take on, we take that into account with the price of the property. So buyers can't argue it, they can't, do some daft negotiations towards the end, halfway through sales progression, because that's what causes a fall through.
I mean, I've seen it before where, a job that could have been done on the back of a pre-market survey for a few £100 has cost that vendor 10,000 quid when it comes to actually selling.
Yeah.
Chimney stacks and things like that. Simple jobs, builder goes up there, it's a few £100 to sort it out. But if a buyer comes in and gets a survey and it identifies that needs doing, and then they're getting their mate to go and quote them, and so all of a sudden the quote's 1,500 quid, £2,000, and the vendor's having to take that off the price because it's an unforeseen issue. And this is the problem. It's better to get this stuff done. I mean, I've got one right now, a £600,000 property that's going on the market, and there was the gutters were full of water because they weren't sitting at an angle, and that got picked up on a pre-market survey. It's literally about a 300 quid job to adjust it all and make sure that the water's running down and they're not blocked. But again, little things like that, it could have turned into something massive further on into the process, and damp issues, things like that. It just gives the seller the opportunity to put all this right before the house goes on the market. And then it's a seamless transaction, and this is key.
Yeah, for a small cost, it's so beneficial.
Yeah, I just think for the clients that are watching, you wouldn't get in your car and not get it serviced for a few years. Your house is your biggest asset, so you should be getting a survey done on it, and that's the way you've got to look at it.
It's a great analogy and a great way to put it, to be honest.
Most definitely.
It's. I do feel it's going to be another game changer for us. The first one was putting the searches in place. Now, putting a survey as well as the searches up front. Imagine how easy these sales are going to be, and you'll see our transaction times coming down even further, I feel. So that wraps things up for this month and our yearly roundup. Thanks very much, guys, and here's to 2026 being another successful year for Keystone.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bye now.